Welcome to another episode of the Roughly Related to Reselling podcast. My name is Perry Phillips. I go by Perry Flips on Instagram with a Z. Pothead Picker on X. Flips and Giggles is the eBay store, and that's also the Whatnot account, username, whatever the hell you want to call it. And then Flips and Giggles is also the name on Facebook. So check it out. Best thing to do is just go over to the Instagram, and then you can get every link from the Instagram. That's kind of like the home page for right now to like get a website up. But another week in reselling. Hope everybody had a fun-filled, action-packed week of reselling / treasure hunting. The weather's like changing right now. It's kind of shitty. It's supposed to be raining today. But it's like the first day it's been supposed to be rainy. So we went to the zoo earlier today, and these kids are like making all types of ruckus upstairs. So just getting over a cold. So I got like some shit in my chest. So if you hear some like fucking nasty sounds, I'm sorry. I apologize. We got like some weird cold or something. It might have been COVID. My wife, I think, tested for COVID. At this point, it's like, what the fuck is the point? You know what I mean? Like, we're just going to keep getting, it's just a cold now. You know what I mean? It's like, so what the fuck does it matter if, I'm sure some people are like, well, it matters how many. But yeah, supposedly it wasn't COVID, but we all got like pretty sick. Not like super sick, but like got like one day each was like, we were all miserable for like a single day. And then, the days before and after were fucking snots and all that shit. So anyway, you're done with all the sickness shit, and it's kind of leaving. And I'm sure as soon as they start school in like 2 weeks, it's just going to be another like wave of nonsense through the house. So enjoying the last of the summer without like being too sick is my goal. But yeah, it's been a fun like reselling. I did a podcast last week. I think I did it like Monday, so it's like the following Wednesday now. And what did I do last week? There was a few things. Friday, so we went up to see some family last week out in like the western part of Massachusetts, where I've had success before finding stuff. It's kind of like out in the middle of nowhere. And so there's like this little thrift store that I had come across the last time I was out there. And I stopped there, and they were having like a half-price clothing sale, which means anytime a thrift store is doing a sale, it means that like everything's already been picked through. Like that's like the last, like they're trying to clear out all their shit, and that's like the last of what they have. So it was kind of like, all right, we already kind of knew that was like, the end of the end of whatever they had, So it was kind of like, as soon as I walked in, I kind of was thinking like this is going to be a waste of time. And sure enough, didn't find anything. So then we kept going out. We went out and met up with my in-laws, and they have like a little campsite. And at this point, I was pretty sick. I was like sick when we went down to camp. So basically I was just kind of like there. I was trying to not be like completely useless, but like that first day we were there, I was just felt so shitty. And then there was like no sales. Every time I'm out there, it seems like I go out there on like a Saturday, and all the sales have already started on Friday, and like it's the second day of the sales already. So I'm like, we went down there on Thursday, hoping that there would be some sales on Friday. And I didn't find any sales. I didn't find any, like, there was one maybe like a half hour away, but driving a half hour in a place you don't know for a sale, I couldn't tell. It looked like one of those sales that sets up all the time. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, we're a garage sale, but it's like you set up every week, and you're basically a storefront out of your house, and like your prices are crazy ridiculous to pay for the overhead. So it seemed like one of those sales. So I was like, all right, I'll just do the old-fashioned way, and jumped in the car and kind of cruised around in the back roads. And it was a really nice morning, and I was shocked. I didn't see any signs anywhere, not even for like the following day, for Saturday. I didn't see any signs. So I was I was a little shocked, and so I went back. I called it early. I drove around from like maybe 8 o'clock to. I didn't want to go out too early, so I went out like 8:30, and I drove around for about an hour and a half, and then came back and was like, empty-handed, completely empty-handed. So that kind of that was kind of shitty, but yeah, it is what it is. I've never gone like on a vacation or a trip out where I don't find a sale. So that was kind of it was a rare occurrence. And then the before we went out, so what night was it? Wednesday night, we did a whatnot auction. And this was crazy because I was fine on Wednesday. Now I'm remembering the whole week. Sorry, sometimes when I do these, I do them a week later. So I write down like a couple things that I want to try to remember to talk about, but it's honestly I just kind of am trying to remember all of the things that happened last week. So I apologize that it's kind of disjointed most of the time, but if you're still listening, hey, more power to you. But anyway, let's get back into what I was talking about. So we did the Wednesday night auction on Whatnot. So it was another t-shirt auction. I paired it to like the Facebook and stuff, so you could like watch it live, watch the recap live, and like check it out. And so that's actually gotten a few views. I've had a couple like converts to like followers from that. So I think that's that's going to be just the formula. Just keep grinding and doing like a Whatnot auction each week. Speaking of which, we've got one tomorrow night, Thursday the 21st. Yeah, Thursday the 21st at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be doing vintage and modern stuffies. So we're going to do a bunch of, I've got like 16 in the store right now, just like uploaded. So do I have to go get these girls? Are these wrestling? Hold on a second. Let me just, oh man, I had to play the voice of God for a second. I had to go over the little speaker and go, hey, hands to yourself. And then she picked up the camera and I said, hey, put me down, hands to yourself. So yeah, we did the Whatnot auction. This one's vintage and modern stuffies. So I got a bunch. I'm gonna hopefully get the rest of them loaded up today, so you can kind of take a look if you're interested. All the bids are gonna start at $1, and pretty soon we're not gonna be starting at $1. So get in while the getting's good, because once we start doing bigger shows, it's gonna be bigger start prices. We're gonna have better quality items. Right now I'm just trying to clear out old inventory, so yeah, get a great deal on some old stuff and then flip it at the flea market, do whatever you got to do. But I'm planning on doing it, trying to do it every week. So that's the plan. We did last week and then this week, and then I'm going to schedule one next week. So it's just I got to plan it around my wife's working. And this week I just said, fuck it. I'm like, my wife's working the next day. We'll do an hour on Thursday night, and then she can go chill while I package shit up and then have it out for Friday. So I'm hoping. I don't even like have a ton of boxes right now. So I'm kind of like fucking. I'm like right now I've got like anxiety about several things. And one of them is like I don't have boxes for this Whatnot that's coming up, which isn't a huge deal. Like we'll see what sells and what doesn't and shit. And like, half the time it's like a few buyers, and so like I only end up needing a few boxes anyway. But yeah, I don't have any boxes, so that's one thing that's like tripping me out right now. And then the other thing is that I've got a court date on Friday. It's not like anything. I'm not gonna like go there and lose my kids or some shit. It's just a traffic speeding ticket that I'm fighting. And that was excuse me, sorry. I keep wheezing. It's shit in my chest. I need to like get it out. And so it's from when that speeding ticket I got when we went to North Carolina a few months back. And it's like that was like in like April or June, I think, that we went. And like you don't get it until like the court date until way later. So I got to go in there. And then they gave me he gave me the speeding violation. And then he gave me like a license plate infraction, but he never said shit about the license plate infraction. So I had to like figure it out what the infraction actually was. So I had to get my brother-in-law, who's a cop or a detective. I was like, hey, do you know what the fuck this is for? Like, and so he went through each thing. He's like, is it this, this, no, this, no. So finally we figured it out. And I've talked about this before, so I don't really want to bring it up again because it's kind of boring. But it was just that my registration wasn't on. So I took a picture of it. I'm going to have to bring that in. So that I'm hoping will get dropped. And then I'm just hoping that the fucking cop doesn't show up. I've never had a situation where the cop just doesn't show up. Every time I've gone to fight a ticket, the fucking guy shows up. So we'll see. Because there's really nothing you can, like, it's almost their word against yours, which is kind of fucked up. Even though on the ticket it's like, oh, this is an estimate of how fast you were going. It's like, well, there's other cars on the road. I could have been easily not the one going that fast, but who knows? I'm not like a speedy driver. If you look at my record, I'm not rolling through stop signs. Hey, that's me all day. But speeding, not really. Occasionally I'll be like going fast and I won't even realize. I'm like, oh shit, I'm going too fast. You know what I mean? Like that's typically, and then that's usually when I get caught, when I'm like not paying attention. I'm like, fuck you, dickhead. So yeah, I've got that on Friday. So I'm like, got a little bit of anxiety about that. But that's all right, dude. Anxiety's good for you. All these people are like, I can't do shit because of my anxiety. It's like, dude, do something. That's why you have that much anxiety, because you're doing nothing. So I'm okay being anxious because I've got a lot of shit to take care of. It's all good. And then I've got the third thing. Speaking of things to be anxious about, I've got some packages that I need to box up today. And typically when I buy, like, because, I've been dealing with a lot of clothes. So I have plenty of stuff for clothes to ship. But, like, I haven't really been dealing with bulkier items, but I've gotten a couple of things that I've had to, like, kind of figure it out. And so I was like, oh, yeah, sweet. Like, these things won't all sell at once. And, of course, like, I sold, like, a couple Bose stereo things, which are, like, not the smallest things, but they're not the biggest things. So it's kind of like an awkward box. So I got to find something for that, and then a mirror, like one of those old Carnival mirrors. I sold another one of those classic rock. It was the Molly Hatchet one. So I sold like 3 of those. I sold one for 60, one for 75, and another one for 75. So those things are good sellers. But yeah, it's like, I'm like, fuck, man, I got to find some. I'm hoping I have boxes. I used to have boxes on deck all the time. My mom used to always order from Amazon. But she's in her social justice warrior era. So now she's like, I can't buy from Amazon. So she doesn't really buy from Amazon as much anymore, which is like, it's like, cool, dude. I respect the move, but I need some fucking boxes here. You were my box supply for a long while. And now you're kind of leaving me out to dry. So you kind of put your morals aside and start ordering some fucking shit, please. So I've still got like enough boxes. I'll make it work. I always make it work. There's a Walmart right up the street. If worse comes to worse, I'll have to go like get a few boxes. But I've been out of bubble wrap for like a few weeks. I just keep forgetting to order bubble wrap. And whenever I order it, it comes super quick. So I might have to order some today. But again, I don't really have like a ton of shit that I need bubble wrap for, except for like, of course right now when I've got all this bigger shit to send out. So it is what it is. We'll get it done. We'll fucking handle business. And, oh, what the fuck was that? We'll handle it and have it ready to go. So it's not a huge deal with that. So that was last week. So yeah, that auction actually went well. I think we didn't promote it as much. I'm getting better on camera, I think. This time I was actually on camera. So I was I was in like basketball shorts and Crocs looking like a fucking crazy person. I was like, do I look like I sell clothes out of my basement? That's the look that I'm going for. And I think I nailed it. My hair's been getting like longer and curlier, and I'm holding, there's a bald spot like just looming. It's not all the way a bald spot, but the hair there is just kind of like hanging on for, they're like, the party's over, like, let's get the fuck out of here, but they don't want to go. They're like, no, dude, you gotta. So they're just hanging on. And so my hair's been getting a little bit longer, and I can take like an afro pick and shit, and I can pick it out, and then I like put a fucking headband in, and I probably look ridiculous, but I feel like I look cool. And yeah, so every once in a while I'll look at my wife. I'll be like, hey, does this look all right? And she gives me a face that lets me know that it does not, in fact, look good. But she's like, no, yeah, you maybe do something with it. I'm like, oh, okay, I did do something with it already, so it means it doesn't look good. So, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. It's the other part of it too is I just can't justify walking into a barber and paying him like $30 plus tip. Like, it just, when I first was going to get haircuts and shit, I could get like my beard and my fucking hair done for like $20. That was a couple years ago. Now they're charging like upwards of $40 to get like a mediocre haircut and to try to talk to you for like the entire time. Which half the time, I don't know. I try to get the guy who looks like he's not going to sit there and talk to me the whole time, but I don't know. I just can't justify that. So eventually I'm just going to get to the point where I just shave my head and then bick that shit because I'm over it. But for now, it's all right. It's working. Enough about my hair. This is a reselling podcast. God damn it. So then what else did I do last weekend? So then that was so Wednesday night we did the auction, went out, came home empty-handed on Friday. Then Saturday, I feel like Saturday was a better day. But I can't remember quite what I got on Saturday. It's hard. I got to go back and fucking check out. Let's see. What was the date of Saturdays? Was this this was just recently, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I went, there really was not a ton. There was one that started early, and I went to that one. They weren't set up. And I couldn't remember what I wanted there. I forgot to put down that there was like Pokemon cards. So I knew that there was Pokemon cards, I probably would have waited. Probably not. I don't know. Pokemon cards are so hit or miss whenever they have them. It could just be a bunch of nonsense. Like, you know what I mean? And so I was like, all right, I'm going to go shoot over. There's another sale like not too far from here. That was the day before too. So they had it the day before. And I was like, oh, well, like the pictures looked kind of appealing. I'll go check it out based on that after. So I was like, I'll shoot over there and then shoot back. And I'll still be early for this sale, whatever. So I go and do that and shoot over. And on the ad, I double checked too. The ad was like, sale starts at 8 a.m. So I drive over there for 8 a.m. No signs of life. And I look at the sign. The sign says 9. I'm like, okay, I definitely just checked. And then the ad said 8. So now I'm like, fuck, well, I guess I'll go back to that other sale. So I drive back to the other sale. And of course, at this point, there's like 3 or 4 people there now. There's one guy already digging through the Pokemon cards. Obviously, you don't leave. I know you don't leave. I know the rules. But it's always just annoying to me when people are like, yeah, we're not going to let people, because I got out and the lady was like, oh, we're not open yet. Like, I'm not letting people look until 8 o'clock and then we'll be ready. So like I come back, 10 minutes to 8 and she's like, there's people already like fucking elbow deep and stuff. Like, bitch, I was here like 15 minutes ago. You couldn't have let me look. I know it's your prerogative. It's your fucking shit. I know I shouldn't have left. I know all the rules. But I just, it would have been nice if she would have just been like, come on. And honestly, I didn't really care. I wasn't even that annoyed. I was like, whatever, I left. It just always strikes me when people are like, we're not letting people in early. And then like 10 minutes later, they're like, all right, you got me. He got me, So it is what it is. I hate complaining about people letting people in whatever time, because I've been the benefactor of that and I've been on the shit end of it. So it just it happens to whatever. Happens whichever way it happens. I'm not really that too concerned. So I left there and I was like, all right. Because I knew the guy who was buying the Pokemon cards is probably going to be I knew his next move was probably going to be to this other sale that wasn't too far that had advertised like Lego and that type of shit. So I was like, I'm going to head over that way while he's here dicking around with these cards. And so I pull up, and this was like an hour early. I didn't even like mean to be here that early, but I was just like, this is the one I want to go to next. Like, let's just hope they were open. So I pull up, they have everything out, and I go, hey, are you guys open? I'm always super polite. And they go, yeah, whatever. And so we're talking for a minute. And I go, and so like, I'm trying to like look at some of the stuff, and I'm just, still apologetic, like, oh, sorry, thank you for letting me look, whatever. And they were like, oh, well, at least you're nice about it. Like, some people come in and they're just like dicks about it and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, I know the type. I've definitely been there, seen them do that. And so they ended up having like some sealed Star Wars sets. So I was like, oh, sweet. Like, they've got some like good shit here. Like, now it was obviously dependent on how much the price was going to be. So I was like, all right, well, what's the price on this? What are we looking at here? Oh, shit. Sorry. I've got the monitor doing double duty here. So he had them marked. It was very bizarre because he had them all marked pretty high. I mean, obviously high for a yard sale. But one of them he had marked 45. And then he had another one marked like 45. Another one was marked like 25, and then he had one marked at like 120. And so, they were all sealed, all Star Wars, Disney Star Wars. So it's newer Star Wars. But I'm like, all right, let me look these ones up. So the first one I looked up was one of the $45 ones, and that one came up as selling for like between 150 and 200 on eBay. So I was like, all right, like this one I'm definitely gonna grab. I'm sure he'll give me a discount. And then I go and I look up the other three, the ones he had for 25, 45, and 120. I'm like, maybe there's some wiggle room. Like, there's plenty of wiggle room here. He clearly looked up the prices. And then all the other prices were like spot on eBay prices, except for this one. So I was like, let me check this again. I checked it again, and it was still coming up to like, as being way lower than eBay. The other three were just right around eBay. I was so confused. So he gave me a deal on the one, had to leave the other three behind because there was just we wouldn't have even been close on a price to make money. He might have given me a deal just because he thought I was chill or whatever, but that's a big chill discount to be handing out. So I left there, and then I kind of drove around, and a lot of the sales were like spread out, and I found a few things, but like nothing crazy. The next sale I went to was like, it was kind of weird. It was two neighbors who were having one. And the one lady who's just like sitting outside, like she was one of those old ladies, like, what's it called? Like Mac's mom from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where you're just like, is that an old lady or an old man? And she's just chain smoking cigarettes. And like, she was watching this stuff for somebody else. This wasn't even her yard sale. That's just why I was like, okay, like, 'cause this stuff's all going to smell like smoke. Luckily, this wasn't her yard sale. They had like a bunch of t-shirts that were all $1 each, like a lot of vintage stuff. So I got like a bunch of vintage shirts from there. And then the next door neighbor was having one. So I went over. They had a bunch of video games and like toys. And you could tell I was like, oh, this is like a reseller. So I started talking to them. They were shooting the shit. And I'm looking at different stuff that they have. And sure enough, yeah, they're like new resellers. He had just gone on disability or some shit and was just starting. They were older. And so yeah, they were like, they were really cool. They gave me a good deal on their stuff. I ended up getting like a Dale Earnhardt, like a vintage Dale Earnhardt t-shirt that he didn't want to deal with because it had a stain on it. And I fucking cleaned it. Like, it took me like, I put some stain remover on it, and let it sit for a little bit. Stain came right out. It wasn't even like a tough stain. But new reseller, he doesn't really know. So that was, I made out on that one. I wasn't trying to like get anything buy on him. He had his price, all his shirts priced at whatever price. But he had a bunch of like retro t-shirts, and he had them all in like poly bags, which was weird. I was like, why are you making me take these out of a bag right now? So a lot of them were just repro t-shirts, and so I got like an old Hartford Whalers hat and then that t-shirt from him. So that was pretty cool. But like, they were talking about possibly doing whatnot. So, I was talking to them as like new resellers and just kind of shooting the shit. So they were pretty chill. And then I went back and had to pay for my stuff from the other lady. And that was a decent sale. But other than that, it wasn't a great day. It was just a lot of like driving and coming up short. So then Sunday, there was a few sales that were like, again, nothing promising. There was a couple in one direction and then like one or two in the other direction. And the one that was in the other direction, of course, started earlier at like 8. So I was like, all right, I'll go over to that one. Got over to that one, and it fucking stunk. So I'm like, all right, I'll head back towards like the other ones, I guess, like, you know, kind of head that direction, and then call it a day. And so like right before I left, I checked my phone just to see if there was any last minute sales, and somebody had posted in like a local group, not on a yard sale group, just a local group, that they were having this big house clean out. It was like 45 minutes from where we were at, but I was like, something told me just go over there. So I shot over there as fast as I could. I missed some good shit because I looked at the video afterwards and I was like, fuck, I missed this. But I got a bunch of other good shit. Like I got like these Battle King vintage Matchbox like army tanks and shit. And they were in boxes. A lot of the boxes were like chewed up by rats. Like this whole box of cars and toys were like just a fucking mouse nest. So I had to clean them all out, take it out like while I was there. And then I found some like old Russian collector tanks and shit. There's a bunch of old military stuff. So I can lot that stuff up. And again, it'll clean off as long as I get rid of the boxes. Some of the boxes were savable. Some of them I just had to toss out. But like I was looking up comps on some of those, like the Battle Kings. And for like a lot of what I've got, it's like between 120, 150 for the amount that I have. And I got those super cheap at this sale. I got some Garfield dolls that ended up smelling like smoke. You can't tell when you're outside sometimes. And like I was kind of sick, so my nose was all fucked up. But those, I'll just, you know, it is what it is. There's one that actually didn't smell like smoke. And somehow, I don't know how it didn't. But that was like the rare of the ones that were there, because it was one of the side characters that they didn't make too many. Newman, I think is the cat's name. So that was in there. And then I got some, like, there's some old vinyl toys that, like, half the time I take a chance on them. They're not worth anything, but occasionally they can be, like the old, like, vinyl rubber, hard rubber coin banks. So there's like a Tom and Jerry one that was actually really clean, like just had a little bit of dirt or some shit on it on the side. And then there was like two that were just like had mold spots everywhere. So I was like, well, fuck it. If worst comes to worst, I'll throw it in the trash. So I cleaned off one of them. The other one might have to go in the trash. It's still outside. I haven't even had time to fuck with it. But one of them cleaned up really quick. The other one was already almost clean. And so I was like looking up prices, and I could probably get between 40 to 50 for each of the two coin banks that I cleaned off, the Tom and Jerry one. And the other one was like a Hood Milk from 1981. And I didn't see any listed. Or maybe there was. I can't remember if I saw any listed. I saw one sold for like $50. So I could maybe get potentially more. I couldn't find any other ones. So those were just like in the throwaway stuff. And so like I bought like a big lot of stuff, and they were like, "Oh, how much do you know?" She threw out a price. She was like 35 for everything. And I knew that I was getting like a good deal, so I was like, "Yeah, I'll do 40, whatever." And I had asked them before. I was like, "Oh, do you have any clothes?" And like, "Oh, just what's on that rack right there." And it was like vintage older stuff. And so like for some reason something was like told me to ask again. I was like, if you guys come across like any old t-shirts, like I don't care about the condition, any condition, I'll take them, like whatever condition they're in, let me know. And I haven't been saying that to people. That might be the key word, because when I said that, then she goes, "Oh, okay, well, we've got some like Rolling Stones t-shirts. Like she went to the concert, but they're kind of beat up and like nasty right now." So I was like, any condition, like let me know, like I'll give you my card, whatever. And I should have been like, "Hey, can I just go look at them right now?" Again, another situation where I should have been like, not even more like, you don't have to be more assertive, but just like you're pulling stuff out for the sale, just ask, you know what I mean? You clearly know they're there. So I should have just been like, "Hey, can you go, is there any way you could grab those for me?" I didn't do that. I should have done it. I was honestly a little nervous. Like when I got to this sale, like this chick, the girl who was doing the sale was pretty hot. Like, not gonna lie, like she was pretty hot. But then she must have had like her hot friend, like all her hot friends, and like helping, and then her hot friends like coming. So I just showed up to this sale, like, Sunday sales, I'm usually the only one at these sales, and so like I showed up, and there's just like, I just walk up, there's just fucking hot girls everywhere. Like this one chick just had like this fat fucking ass just hanging out of some bicycle shorts, just walking around at a yard sale. She actually went over to my pile and started digging in my pile, and I had to be like, hey, that's my stuff. Like, get your perfectly fat ass out of here, you fucking siren. It's my shit. That's my pile. So yeah, not today, dude. But yeah, so I was a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, normally I'm pretty, good at coming up with like quick quips and like responses and shit. But when there's just like when you walk up and there's just a gaggle of hot females, it kind of takes you by surprise. You're not really expecting, especially at a yard sale. You're like, what the fuck did I just walk into? Like, is this one? Am I awake? Is this like a wet yard sale dream? Like, so I left. I left my number, whatever, and I go and I head back home, and it's like a 40-minute drive to get back home. So I get back and I'm just like, man, I should have fucking tried to get those t-shirts locked down. Like, what the fuck was I thinking? So I saw the post again. My wife actually sent me the post. She was like, hey, have you gone to this yard sale? And so I was like, oh, I already went there earlier. And then I was like thinking like, should I just send a message? Like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I was like, all right, let me just send a message. So I sent them a message and I was like, hey, I was there earlier. I talked to somebody about possibly buying some old band t-shirts. Like, if possible, I can come today before you guys finish up. Just let me know, whatever. So she messaged me back. She's like, hey, I have these ones. And she wanted like 25 a piece for them. And I was like, that was reasonable. I could tell. Like, one of the band t-shirts was like it was like Giant brand, which is a good brand to look out for band t-shirts. So it was Giant brand, and it was a Aerosmith t-shirt. I posted it on my Instagram, but it was like two-sided, all over print from Get a Grip, the album, and it's like this crazy, print on both sides. And so for that one alone, I think it's like, I looked it up and I could probably get like, I could probably post it today and have it sold today for like 250. Like, there was only two sold. I couldn't see any listed, and those weren't, I think they were like large sizes. So this is like an XL size, and like, typically any XL size is like gonna be good to go. Sorry, I don't know if my mic was fucked up for a minute. So yeah, she ended up holding them. So I was like, all right, I'll come down and get them, like whatever. And I got back there, and again, it was like just hot girls fucking shopping. I'm like, this girl just must have all her friends coming to hang out at this shop all day. Like, they were cleaning out a hoarder house. So her friends had bought that property, and like they realized like, oh, there's a bunch of shit in here that like we can sell. And so they just started selling the stuff out of the house. But it's like, that would have been the first thing I did if I found an empty property with a ton of free shit to sell. Like, I would have been doing that shit for fucking weeks. Like, hey, let's just do it every day. But they, so yeah, I came, shot down there, and they were still out there. So she gave me the t-shirts. She was like, I was like, oh, would you do like 100 for the 5 of them instead of 125? She was like, oh, sure. No, like, of course. And then she threw in like there was like another liquid blue. So there was 2 Rolling Stone tour t-shirts from like the 90s, one from 94, 95, and then 97, 98, I think. And then there was a Aerosmith t-shirt, and then an AC/DC from 1990. AC/DC concert t-shirt from 1990. Sorry. Oh, is this the fucking fucked up mic one? Hold on. I apologize if there's like some feedback here. I thought I got rid of the bad mic cord, but maybe both of them are bad now. Anyway, so it was like a 1990 AC/DC concert t-shirt, 2-sided. That's really sick. Like, all the colors are crazy good. Like, these shirts were barely worn. They were just, in squalor, whatever, pulled out of some squalor. And then there was like another Aerosmith t-shirt that was just like from 2014, nothing crazy. But she had ended up giving me like liquid blue, like just a random liquid blue t-shirt, like some other vintage jacket that's like, I looked it up. The only one I could find sold for like $175 on Mercari or something like that, or maybe Etsy, I can't remember. And then they gave me like another like vintage Halloween shirt, and like they gave me a couple like extra vintage things that they were just like, here, we found these while you were on your way, like, you drove all this way to get here, whatever. And they're like, and this is like the tip of what we found, so like, we'll let you know, we got your contact, we'll let you know when we find more. I was like, fuck yeah. So I might send another message and just be like, hey, thank you. Like, I always send like an appreciation one, not even like asking for more shit. Just be like, hey, thanks. I ended up getting all the stains out. Like, I'm so happy. Thank you so much. Maybe make up a little white lie. My wife took one of the vintage pieces you gifted me. She loved it, something like that. Just, something that's not going to hurt her or me or my wife, But yeah, those t-shirts ended up being fucking sick, and it was worth the drive out there. And yeah. Speaking of my wife, this was something I was supposed to talk about last week, but I completely got sidetracked. I had too much stuff to talk about that last week, and apparently I have too much stuff to talk about this week because I've got a bunch of shit to get through, and I don't think I'm going to make it through. So let's just try to get through some of the stuff I was supposed to talk about last week, one of which being my wife. So my wife texts me. She was like on the way to a doctor's appointment or something, and she texts me, and she's like, hey, leaving the doctor's in a little bit. I was going to stop by. There's a yard sale that everything is free that I passed on the way out here. So I'm going to stop by that on the way back. So like, just be ready, whatever. So she calls me when she gets there, and there's like 4 boxes of DVDs, and she's like, these are all free. Do you want them? It's like, yeah, fuck yeah. Like, load them in. So she came back with like boxes of DVDs, some vintage hats, a couple stuffed animals, like all for free. So I was pretty pumped about that. I was like, hell yeah. So I was like, all right, I'll go back over there, see if there's anything you missed. And she pretty much got me. She missed like an Olympus camera, but she doesn't know that shit. And that was pretty much all she missed. She found pretty much all the good shit at this free sale. And we got to take it all back for fucking nothing. So the DVDs, I won't usually take that many DVDs unless I have a yard sale coming up. Because people that come to my yard sales, they know that I have DVDs cheap, and they'll just fucking buy. Like, I'll sell like the 2 boxes for like $40. You know what I mean? Something, maybe sell the whole thing for $40. Like, just nothing crazy, but it's free, and it's, no tax. It's just fucking somebody else is going to pick it up, put it in their car, and take it. I don't know how. Anytime I go to a sale and they have a million DVDs, I'm always like, those things always are the first to go at my yard sales, which means people are pricing their DVDs way too high. Because anytime I have a yard sale, people come up, and I'm just like, as soon as somebody starts looking at the DVDs, I just go, I'll give you that whole thing for $50. They go, 50. You go, $40. How much do you want to take it for? And then they go, I don't know, 35. Sold. Take that shit. Get it out of my fucking yard. Easy money. Easy all day money. So shout out to Amy Flips and Giggles. I made her make a Whatnot account so I could add her as a moderator. And I was like, yeah, make your name like Amy Flips and Giggles or something. And she just did exactly Amy Flips and Giggles. So I was like, all right, whatever. Whatever. Back to school's coming soon. I know last year I got to a point where I was just ready to have my daughter at school, and I think I'm getting close to that time now. She's had a fucking attitude lately. I think she's starting to become ungrateful, and I need to figure out how to course correct that. We did fun shit all day yesterday, and then we did fun shit all day like this morning. We did the zoo this morning, went to the fair yesterday. The whole time we're at the fair, she's asking for shit. She's like, I want this. I'm like, okay, we're not here for this, and then she's bitching and complaining when we don't get her shit. I'm like, you're here having fun. And it's not like she's a spoiled kid. Like, it's not like everywhere we go, we buy her something, but she's just like, I want to do this. I want to do this. And then we didn't do it. She's like, I didn't even get to do this. It's like, dude, be fucking grateful. You could be like in fucking Gaza or some fucking third world country or some shit. Like, fucking just relax, child. You're having a good childhood. You'll be all right. But yeah, the fair had those fucking Labubu things everywhere. And I know they're fucking fake, 100% fake. They're like, everything in that place is fake. They had these little dogs that they had, like, my kid kept asking me for these things. I'm like, and you could tell how fucking cheap they were. They were like these little dog toys that they like had made to look like the Paw Patrol, and they were so janky. And my kid kept, every time she saw them, she's like, I want one of those. I'm like, no. Like, one, you have a million Paw Patrol things at the house that are licensed Paw Patrol things that don't look like whatever the fuck this retarded thing looks like. They look like a retarded chihuahua from the fucking the Taco Bell commercials. They all look like the same thing. Like they all just look like that dog, the Taco Bell dog, but then dressed like the Paw Patrol. It was the shittiest little toys. They look like they probably would have broken as soon as we walked away from the thing. But yeah, I just couldn't believe the amount of Labubu. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but it was everywhere. And so like we always do the games last. So we're like, whatever they get, it's going to have to either carry it or whatever. So we ended up doing one game where they all won a prize. And we had met the neighbors, and the neighbor next door, he was there. His wife had to work, so he took his 3 kids. And me and my wife met him with his kids there. So we were there. And the 4 kids all got one of those fucking, those trumpets that like just make the most obnoxious sound, like, and they're loud as fuck. And so every single one of them got these, and they're just walking. So as we're walking to the exit, like we literally got them and like, all right, time to go. And we're walking to the cars, and they're just all 4 of them blowing them at the same time, like blowing them so loud. And like we walk by one of the carnies, and it's this black dude, and he's just laughing. He looks over at me because I always like to fucking interact with the carnies, dude. They're funny. They say some funny shit, and you can learn about like selling shit from fucking carnies. But he was just laughing, and like we made eye contact. He's like, I bet you're what'd he say? He's like, I bet you're regretting that decision now, or something like that. And I just shook my head and started laughing. I was like, yeah. So we got to the car. We're like, all right, these are not an inside the car thing. Let's put them down. Like, fuck. Oh my God. Those things are so fucking loud. So fucking loud. So yeah, we went there, and it was a fun day. You know, the fair is fun, but like my kid she's just, I don't know what to do about this ungrateful behavior. She's 5, you know what I mean? So she's still learning what her personality is, but I gotta fucking nip it in the bud, if that's the saying. I had to go get the car worked on. The vehicle that I use for all of the work stuff. It needed some brakes and stuff. My wife wouldn't let me do the brakes. I was like, I know how to do brakes. She's like, no, we're just gonna take it in. I'm like, all right, fine. So we do it, and it costs like, I don't even know. It was like, well, yeah, it was like $400 for the brakes, to do the brakes, and then like another $200 because the rotors were shot, because we just kept forgetting to do it. And I'm sitting there like because I dropped it off. So now she's like, yeah, you can do the brakes if you want to try. I'm like, cool. After we just spent all that money. Hold on, I need to check up on these kids. Oh no, they're good. Hold on a second. Nope, they're good. So yeah, so I had to sit there. So I brought it in to get taken care of, and we take it to this place. It's like, they're pretty good about it, like not upselling you on shit. So that's why we go there. But I get there, and you gotta like go and wait in the waiting room or whatever. It's first come, first serve. So basically, when you get there, if you get there first thing in the morning and you're first, like they'll start working on your shit right away. So like, they start taking me, and like they bring the car in like right away, and I'm like, all right, sweet, we're gonna get this done. And it's like an hour later, he comes over, and he's like, from an hour from when he brought the car into the shop, and he's like, yeah, so you're gonna need like the, all 4 brakes and then the rotors. And I'm like, yeah, and I already kind of knew that. Like, you haven't started it? Like, so they started it then. So it ended up like taking a little over 2 hours, which isn't bad, but like afterwards, I'm like, I told my wife, I'm like, I can still do brakes. Like, I know how to do brakes. Like, I used to do my brakes all the time. It's just been a long time. So after we got that bill, she was like, all right, you can do the brakes. Like, we're not going to spend that much money on them again. I'm like, yeah, like, that's fucking crazy. And then the worst part is they have morning TV, like, what the fuck are those morning shows? Like, Good Morning America, and like all the fucking corporate sponsored propaganda that the fucking liberals love to fucking watch before fucking 8 a.m. So they had that on. And then it went from like the morning show to like some talk show. They had like Drew Barrymore on or some shit. And they're talking about dry vaginas. It's literally me and this old lady in this fucking room at this point. Everybody else is gone. And there's Drew Barrymore and and I think it was Drew Barrymore and like, was it Halle Berry? I think it was Drew Barrymore and Halle Berry. I texted my mom. I texted my wife about it. My mom. Jesus Christ. I texted my wife about it. I think it was Halle Berry. They were talking about their dry vaginas it went on forever. Ever. It was just like 2 hours of dry vagina talk. All right, hold on. Let me see. Okay, so... Okay, yeah, it was Halle Berry. Sorry. She was talking about her dry vagina syndrome. And it's just me and this old lady listening to Halle Berry and Drew Barrymore talking about dry vaginas. And like, I should have leaned over to the old lady and been like, "You got problems with the dry vagina, lady?" And licked my lips. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know how fucking people listen to that. It's like the lowest fucking IQ form of entertainment. And if you listen to that stuff in the morning, you need to get better morning habits because you're dumb. And those shows are horrible. And they're really bad for society. They're really bad. It's just, we were driving. This is a funny one. We were driving to go see the in-laws again out in like Western Mass. This was this past week that we went. And the kids had to go to the bathroom. So we stopped at a rest stop, as you do once you have kids who have to go potty. And so we go, and I'm like, all right, we'll go use the family restroom. Like, it was super busy, so I just didn't want to have to take my kid into, like, the men's room and shit. And, like, there's, like, dudes fucking blowing shit. And, like, it's just I'd rather use the family bathroom if I can. So I go, and I, like, knock on the family door. And I can never hear, so I always give the fucking handle a jiggle, and it's locked. So I'm like, all right, maybe somebody's in here. Let's just wait. So we're sitting waiting, and my daughter's just like, "Daddy, I have to go to the bathroom. What's taking so long?" So I knock again and fucking try to jiggle the shit. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, this better be somebody who's fucking handicapped, or I'm going to fucking be like, "Hey, where's your family?" Not handicapped, but like somebody with a family. Sorry, it wasn't the handicapped bathroom. Although they might have been able to use it. So finally, I hear some shit going on, and then in the meantime, like as I had walked, my youngest daughter was in the car with my wife. It was just me and my oldest. And as we had walked in, there was this like fucking older lady like wearing like this flower dress, like a really random flower dress. And she's like, "Oh, I like your dress," to my daughter. I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." We get in, we're waiting for the bathroom, and then that same lady, a few minutes later, she's like, "I can take her into the bathroom if you want, if you don't feel like waiting for the family bathroom." I'm like, in what fucking universe would I let this fucking lady, just some stranger that I met walking into a rest stop, take my 5-year-old daughter into the bath? Like, I'd rather take her into the men's room by myself, you fucking psycho. So I'm like, "No, thank you. We're okay." She's like, "Oh, okay. It sounds like somebody's coming out anyway." I'm like, yeah, thank you, fucking unassuming white woman who's going to steal my child. And, so then the door opens, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to fucking say some shit. And out walks the biggest, blackest trucker. Like, this dude, like, looked like he probably towered over Big Black from Robin Big. Like, he was huge. He had very skinny legs, though. The trucker life was not doing things for his legs. Like, he just had these tiny little toothpick legs and this giant, big, black body. And at first, I thought he worked at the thing. Like, my inner Karen like started going fucking crazy, and I did say something. I was like, "Oh, this guy forgot his family." Like, I said it to my kid as we were going in, but I wasn't going to repeat it to make sure he heard me. But I knew, I was like, as soon as somebody comes out without kids, I'm saying something. But as soon as I was like, all right, I'm going to make sure that I say it, but he doesn't have to hear me. But I at least I said it. So he walked out. I'm like, this guy forgot his family. Doesn't even acknowledge me. He just keeps walking. So like, as we're in the bathroom, I'm like, oh, and of course he blows up the fucking bathroom. And like, as we're in there, and I'm like thinking, I'm like that guy, motherfucker. And the reason I thought he worked at that, like, the place was because he had a headset on. And then we walked out, and I saw another guy with a headset that definitely didn't work at the place. And I was like, oh, he's a fucking trucker. because I used to sell a lot of those headsets to fucking truckers. Truckers love those big ass headsets, like the big styrofoam looking fucking things, because they can't hear shit when they're talking on the road. So they need that. That's what a trucker told me anyway. So then I put two and two together. I was like, oh, I just almost went and complained to somebody about this, and I would have looked like a fucking idiot. I'm like, yeah, one of your employees, like this big black guy, just went and blew up the bathroom while me and my daughter were waiting for it. So yeah, so yeah, I put two and two together and like realized that he was a trucker. So like that whole series of events, dude, from like, I was more scared of the white lady, to be honest with you. The unassuming white lady was more scary to me than the trucker, because I was like, dude, she really wanted to take my kid into the bathroom by herself. Like, what the fuck? In what fucking universe? Like, maybe 15 years ago, but like, bruh, you can't come over here and be like, hey, can I take your family in? Like, what the fuck? Yeah, that shit was fucking wild. All right, on to the next. Yeah, on to the next. So I went on my way back from sales on Saturday. There was a sale. I saw a sign, just a random sign, not advertised, nothing. Drove down there, and they didn't have a ton of stuff, but there was like a NASCAR duffel bag, like not like it was probably like a $40 bag, if that. And so I looked at it. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, how much are you asking for the bag? She's like, well, how much do you want to make me an offer for it? I'm like, lady, this is an unadvertised yard sale. Nobody's going to be coming to your sale. It's the end of the day. Just give me a fucking price. I'm tired. I've been fucking haggling all day. So I don't know why, but this lady instantly annoyed me. And it annoyed me because she gave the other fucking guy a price, and he was buying like an Instant Pot that was like still in the box for like $12. And she's like, you know, giving him stuff for free, and she's over here busting my balls about this fucking duffel bag. I'm like, lady, you're selling the expensive thing right there, and you didn't even like give this guy the whole eBay spiel. She's like, it sells for $30 on eBay, so I was thinking $20. I go, no. And so like I wasn't even gonna like say what I was gonna offer. She goes, well, like $15. I go, no, that's way too much for. You know, it's like between fees and shipping and all that stuff. I'm like, no, there's no money to be made. Like, whatever. And again, it's your obligation. You can sell it for whatever you want. But then she's like, well, what would you do it for? I go, $5. She goes, but no. I'm like, well, yeah, fuck you, lady. That's why I don't want to tell you my offer, because you're retarded. Like, and so she like, you know, she held on to it, and I guarantee you nobody bought it. Because it wasn't that expensive an item. It's so weird when people pick one item that they have in their sale, and they're like, this is the item that I'm going to make sure I don't sell today. And it's always stuff I want. I'm like, why? You didn't just haggle with that fucking person. I was just here for that whole interaction. You just gave them a price and gave it to them. Why? Like, what's the difference between this item? Because you looked it up on eBay? Like, how many of these have sold? When was the last one that sold? Do they sell constantly? How many are listed versus how many are sold? Like, all of these things are shit that people just don't even take into consideration. So I always try to educate them, just because they're dumb. And then they're like, oh, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. It's like, okay, yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Yep, I do this all the time. I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. I just go into everything blindly. So that just pissed me off. I don't know why it pissed me off. It wasn't even something I was really, really interested in. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm still like, you know, I still can't get over that sale, though. That house clean out, man, those T-shirts were such fire. And, like, yeah. Just crazy how hot all those chicks were. That never happens where you go to a yard sale and you're just like, every fucking chick here is gorgeous. Like, I'm looking around for my wife like, do you see this? But she wasn't with me, so I had to just kind of play it cool. And apparently I did not play it cool. Usually I'm like very good at like making retorts and like making fucking small talk, but I was just like, I like, even when I tried to make the deal on the T-shirts, I was like, would you do 20? I meant to say like 20 each, or, you know, 100 total. I was like, would you 20? I mean, 200. I mean, 100. And she like understood what I was saying. She was like, yeah, I'll do 100. Thank you. No, I think at that part she thought I was special needs, and she's like, All right, this dude is just like a special guy who likes to run around in Brock t-shirts. But yeah, I really hope that I get a message back to go back to that house. Again, I'm gonna send a message today, I think, and just be like, hey, these things were fucking super cool. I'm glad that this deal worked out, and meet me next time. Anyway, I had a bunch of shit to talk about, and now in like the last 5 minutes, I'm like, none of this shit is stuff I want to even bring up. None of this stuff. I talked about going to court. I talked about how I hate when people stick to their start times exactly. Man, I talked to about most of this stuff. Fantasy football is coming up. I don't know what I'm going to do, because I've got like fantasy football coming up. School's going to be starting soon. We've like fully trying to do whatnot auctions every week. Reselling is like in full effect. It's going to be the busy season coming up for like Christmas shopping, and so I got a bunch of shit I want to get up on eBay for that. It's going to be hard trying to find a balance between like being a dad and also doing the other stuff. Like you got to be a dad, entrepreneur to do this, a business owner / entrepreneur. You've got to be a husband, a father. I said that already, said dad. But then also like I got Kingdom Come and my boy Henry that I've been playing with. So it's going to be tough. I'm going to be, the podcast is going to be coming out again weekly, hopefully. Might be starting on a different day. Who knows? But again, just follow it and like and subscribe, and then you'll get every fucking thing. I'm actually going to call in a friend. He's a buddy of mine who knows a lot more about like video and stuff, because I got to do video. I got to fucking do video. And I tried once and it was frustrating, and I kept fucking it up, and it was like wasting a bunch of time. So I'm going to try to figure it out. I'm going to get my buddy over here who knows what the fuck he's doing. I'm going to send him a text right after I'm done with this. I'm going to say, hey, dude, I need your help to get me some video podcasts going. Anyway, that's about it for the show. Again, if you like the show, subscribe and make sure you hit the notification so you get every episode when it drops. Available everywhere you get your podcasts, audio only for now, but you can still get like the video version, video audio version on YouTube. I hope the last one, I don't know if the last one uploaded. I don't think anybody's watching it on YouTube anyway. But I'll try to get that figured out. Who fucking knows. And then make sure, if you check it out, if you're around tomorrow night, this should be out shortly. I'm going to finish up here and then put this podcast out into the world. So this was going to come out today, Wednesday the 20th, I think. Yeah, Wednesday the 20th. And then we have a show tomorrow night, Thursday the 21st at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Whatnot. So make sure you come and check that out. Check out the eBay store. If there's anything on the eBay store that you're interested in, hit me up. I had somebody hit me up. Again, I haven't even responded to that person. So if you listen to the podcast, I'm sorry. I keep thinking about responding to you, and then I forget because I never get messages on Instagram. But send me a message on Instagram or Facebook. Probably Facebook might be the easier way to reach me. But send me a message if there's anything you're interested in. You want me to put it aside for you before it goes on to eBay. You can't really message me on eBay and say, hey, can you sell this to me outside of eBay? Because then my account will get taken away. But if you message me like, on Instagram or Facebook, or comment on one of my things and be like, hey, I sent you a message, fucking check it. I'll check it. So, and then, follow me on Facebook. Flips and Giggles LLC is the page. Perry Flips on Instagram. Podhead Picker on X. And be back next week. But check out the Whatnot stream. And if you want $15 to spend on the Whatnot show and you're not already signed up for Whatnot, let me know. I have a link for you. I can send it over and you'll get $15 to spend on the show. And we're doing stuffed animals this week, and then we'll do another one next week with some more vintage t-shirts as we kind of go through all that inventory.
And then, yeah. And then we'll be on to the next. We'll see what we got next for the next one. So thanks for tuning in. And I hope everybody has a great reselling weekend. And hopefully the end of the summer is being good to you. And I'll check in next motherfucking week.